ready to roll. If you are trying to understand how business funding actually works, especially when it comes to getting 50,000 to 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 in business credit, this live will clear a lot of things up. So who is this for? This is for you if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a real estate investor, if you're in business, if you own a business, if you're wanting to push your life forward and you're looking to get funding and you need to access this, whether you are established or whether you are just starting out, there are funds available to you. And I'm going to share the exact strategy that you can use to be able to access, again, 100,000, 150,000 without having to show documentation. That means no tax returns. That means no bank statements, no business financial proposals, and a lot of different things. You don't even have to have a PAYDEX score on your business credit. A lot of different things that you do not need to be able to do this. And what that does is it removes the excuses, removes the red tape, and you can really push this forward. And in the next 30 days, be able to access these funds at 0% interest for 12 to 18 months. It's one of the most powerful things that you can leverage. And this is why I want to share it with you now. So what you're going to learn is the exact blueprint, the exact structure that you're going to need in your personal credit profile, as well as in your business entity structure. When you have those two things together, then you are literally good to go. And you can move things forward like pretty easily, right? So let's talk about this. Why is this different from anything else? Is that we're going to talk about the strategy that you can use that you do not have to submit, again, tax returns. You do not have to jump through a lot of hoops. It's just literally a formula. And once you know the formula, then you can access it. And there are ways that I can share with you that you can leverage this information right now, even if you don't qualify in your credit profile, the profile that I'm about to break down for you, even if you don't qualify with that. There are ways that you can leverage this to your advantage right now. And I'm going to explain those to you and get it going, right? So welcome in. Welcome everybody. I'm Kyle Alexander. I have been in this entrepreneurial space for about 4 or 5 years or so. And I have learned about business credit in that process. And throughout that process, my wife and I have obtained over $500,000 in business credit that we've been able to use at 0% interest and to use it towards real estate, towards investment, towards mentorship, and all sorts of things. Emmanuel G-Fam, hey, what's going on? Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. So we've been able to use this towards all sorts of things. So I do want you to put your questions in the chat and let me know what you have. But I'm going to break down this exact blueprint, and I'll be pausing for questions a little bit later. So I want to just jump right into it. So here's the first important part of the model, right? So number one is that your credit score is important, but it's not nearly as important as having a fundable profile. And the profile is what we're about to talk about right now. So there are some people who are getting denied, even though they have a 700 credit score, have a 720, 750. And you hear people talk about online, hey, if you have a 700 credit score, you can get 100,000 in business credit, right? Which is cool. But then if you go and apply without knowing the information, without knowing the proper way to go about it, or without knowing what needs to be in your profile, then your 700 or your 720 or even your 750 may not be enough to get you approved. All right. So we're going to walk through this and we're going to look at what banks optimize for. What are the banks looking for exactly, right? What do they need to see in order to approve you for $10,000 in a business credit card, 20,000, 25, 40,000, 50,000. And we're using this business credit stacking method to be able to get towards our goal of having 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 in the next 30 days, which again, you can access. So what is the bank data model is we're looking at these data points. And once you know these data points, you can leverage those to be able to get into these cards and accounts. And it's one of the most powerful ways to push things forward because it removes, again, all of the red tape. It removes all of the excuses. You don't have to have W-2s. Again, bank statements, tax returns. Even if your business doesn't have revenue yet, we can push this forward as well in that way. So, so I want you to tap in, make sure you get your notes and take notes. And again, write down your questions. And when I open up, I want you to put your questions in the chat, but I'm going to break it down exactly for you. So once you understand how the banks assess risk, then the process becomes a lot less mysterious. My goal here is to clear things up for you. I have zero gatekeep in me. I want to give you the exact sauce that you're going to need to be able to push yourself forward. I believe in abundance, and I believe that we are in a space to really expand. And if I give you the sauce and the information, regardless of who you decide to work with, then I want to be able to equip you so that you can push your life forward and that you can work towards your God-given purpose and to be able to get freedom for your family and for yourself. So this is why I'm here at this hour. As I typically say, if my daughter wakes up at this time, then the live will have to end abruptly. But let's hope that we've got a little time to hang out here. All right. So good to see everybody, and welcome. All right. So here we are. So again, I appreciate everybody that has just joined. And thanks for the follows and the shares. Again, please share this with somebody, you guys. Tuscany Enterprise, thanks for the follow. Yep, share this with somebody. This information can really change someone's life, because you don't know what you don't know. If you don't realize that you can one day have access to nothing, and then 30 days from now access $100,000 at 0% interest that you could be using towards pushing your life forward and towards a high-level mentorships, towards down payments on properties. This can go pretty much across the board for anything that we want to use it for. So this is a very, very powerful stuff. So again, share this with somebody and like this, and we'll get this going, right? So here's the exact sauce, right? So we're gonna get back to the breakdown. Number one, your personal credit, right? There's two pillars to this. It's your personal credit and your business entity structure. I'm going to go through both of them again, the exact setup that you're going to need to be able to move this forward. All right. So what is the personal credit that we're going to need? Now, there's 6 pillars, and I want you to follow along with these 6 pillars, and I want you to evaluate for yourself, what do you have in your personal credit? Right now, personal credit is going to be drastically important because we're leveraging our personal credit to get into the door with these banks. Right? They need a way to trust us, to know that we have managed money well. And when you do that, it's like your adult report card. And they're using that to be able to determine whether they're going to give you approvals and how much they're going to give you. And we're using our personal credit. And once we have this set up properly, it changes the game across the board, because not only can you access business funding, but everything in your life is going to be cheaper and less expensive because your interest rates are going to be lower. Everything is going to be smoother and better. You have access to more things. So if you are concerned about your personal credit because it's not where it needs to be, don't worry, we've got you. Again, if you want help with funding or with credit, you can tap in with me. You can text me at 240-240-6402. I'd be glad to help to get you pointed in the right direction and to get a free consultation call with the team. All right. So what are these points that you need for your personal credit? Right. So please get a pen and write this down. All right. So number 1 is your personal credit cards. You need to have personal credit card limits of at least $10,000 to $15,000. If you added up all of your credit cards that you have right now, do you have at least $10,000 to $15,000 overall total? And then on 2 of those cards, you have at least $2,500 to $3,000 limit on 2 individual cards. This is a big and major point. If you have that, then I would say you're probably more than half of the way, because everything else we can deal with. All right. So evaluate that for yourself. Again, I want you to be following along and say, is that a check mark for you or not? Right. So here's number 2. Number 2 is your utilization needs to be below 30% at the bare minimum, and it needs to be at least 10% in the ideal range. So if you're below 10%, then you're in the sweetest of the sweet spots to get you the highest approvals, right? If you are If you're above 30%, then we need to deal with it. And I have a hack for you for utilization that I will share in just a moment, where you can deal with your utilization in short order, even without having to come out of pocket or pay things down. There are some ways to be able to leverage the rules of credit to your advantage. So I'm going to share that with you in just a second. All right, so let's get through the rest of these. So number 3 is your inquiries need to be 2 to 5 inquiries or less. Well, really is 0 to 3 inquiries per bureau, right? So, and the number of inquiries that you have in the last 6 months, right? In the last 6 months is going to be more impactful for your funding decisions than anything older than 6 months. So you want to look at pull up your credit profile right now, and I want you to look at how many inquiries do you have. And if you have less than 3 inquiries per bureau, and ideally you have as few as possible in the last 6 months, then you're good to go on that one. That's a check mark. All right, so that was bullet number 3. Here's number 4, is you need at least 10 primary accounts reporting on your credit file. So look at your credit report. How many accounts do you have total? If you have 7 to 10 accounts total, then you're in the ballpark. And we want a good mix of accounts. So do you have credit cards? Yes, but do you have mortgages? Do you have auto loans? Do you have student loans, personal loans, store cards? The more the merrier as far as having different types, right? So we can move forward with that. So do you have at least 7 to 10 accounts reporting on your credit file? If you have that or more, then you're in good shape. Next, this is number 5, right? The average age of your credit needs to be 2 years or more, right? And this is 4 to 5 years would be actually the ideal spot. But if you've got more than 2 years, then you can get in the door. If you've got less than 2 years, then we're going to need to do some work. And again, we can help you with that. All right. So here is number 6. This is the end of the blueprint of the exact sauce that you need for your personal credit profile. Number 6 is no derogatories and no negatives, which means no late payments, no collections, no charge-offs, no bankruptcies. The only caveat to this is if you have late payments that are older than 2 years, then we can still work with that. All right. So that is the full blueprint. So if you have that, then I want you to evaluate that, and I want you to comment ready, right? And you can text me, because you might be 30 days away from getting access to $100,000 to $50,000 to $150,000 to $200,000 in the next 30 days at 0% interest in business credit, right? And business funding. Now, our team helps with all types of business funding, right? From term loans to SBA loans if you need to buy a business. We help with auto financing and equipment financing and business lines of credit. And we can tap you in the right direction to be able to access those things, right? And again, if you are ready, I want you to text me at 240-240-6402. I'm going to put it in the chat real quick. Now, like I said, we can help with all of those things, but the reason I'm sharing this strategy with you is because it is so powerful. The 0% business card stacking method is so powerful because it removes, again, all of the red tape, where you don't have to submit bank statements and tax returns and have to submit W-2s. These are no document programs. And these are some of the best and most strong ways that you can get into high limits and high levels of funding to start out with. And it actually becomes a great foundation for your business credit scores as well. And we will clear up some myths about that as far as what's needed and what's not needed for this 0% stacking method. There's lots of different ways to get funded. But again, the reason I am harping on this is because this is a powerful thing for pretty much anybody to access. Once you have that profile, then you are good to go, right? So this is something that you need to be aware of. If you do not have the profile, then do not worry. Now is the time to start working on it, right? And our team can help you to work on it. So if you need to know, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to add? Just start the process today. And as I always say, tell me that I'm lying, that it seemed like yesterday was January of 2025 and you blinked and now we're literally about to step into 2026. And this year has flown by. And I can assure you that it's going to be the same exact thing for this coming year. So even if it takes 6 months for you to build up your personal credit, If you need to add some credit cards, I saw someone say that they only had a $500 credit card, right? So that's not going to cut it when it comes to getting approvals for business funding. And with that $500 credit card, you could have a 700 credit score. You could have a 750 credit score. You could have an 800 credit score if you manage that really well and you use all of the other things in your credit profile well. But it's not enough for the banks to be able to give you $25,000 in business credit. It's going to be a multiplier on what you have comparable on your current business credit cards. Again, I mean your current personal cards, which is why I shared that metric with you and that data point. So if you don't have it, now is the best time to start building it up. And there are ways to build it up. And again, the best way that I can tell you is you need to tap in with the team. Get on a free consultation call and we can guide you on your next steps for what you need to do. All right. So any questions, you can put your questions in the chat, right? So I saw Greatness had that question about the $500 credit limit that they have. So we need to start building up, and it's time to start. You can probably start leveraging some credit unions either in your area, or there are some national credit unions that are known for giving out high limits on credit cards if you establish the right relationship with them. All right. So this is another hack that you can leverage, is that if you are working with a bank or an entity and you start a relationship with them, meaning you open a personal checking account, a personal savings, or a business checking, business savings, you do a small loan, like a pledge loan or something like that, or you can do a merchant account with them, and you put some money in there, then that is going to be a good starting point to be able to get a good relationship, and that improves your chances of having a high limit card. So if you play it right, then you can get a $5,000 card, a $10,000, a $15,000 card, even if you don't have a lot of history, especially if you leverage the right credit unions and the right banks. All right. So this is all part of the strategy and something that's good to know. All right. So I'm just going to answer one question. So you said you have too many hard inquiries and only one card, limited history, but a good score. So that's a good foundation to start on, Greatness. It's a good foundation, and we can actually deal with the hard inquiries. So especially if, and you want to write this down, that any hard inquiries that are not tied to open accounts on your personal credit profile, those can actually be removed, right? If you know the right way to do it. So we can deal with hard inquiries, or we can teach you how to deal with hard inquiries yourself and how to remove them. But Greatness, for you, the next step would be, okay, let's start building up. So if we can start to clean things up, but what do we do to add the right cards to our profile? Now, this will be a good time to pause and explain some of the options that you have. Again, if you do not have this credit profile that I just laid out for you, and I just gave you all the steps, if you do not have that currently, then there are two other things that you can do to leverage this information right now to your benefit. Number one is what's called a credit partner, right? How can you use a credit partner to be able to get to your goals with funding? Well, if the funding doesn't go on you and your profile, then it can go on someone else. And we can get funding for someone else's profile and still either do two options. We can either do an LLC that's under them that we've created, or maybe that they have already, and we can get funded that way, or we can add them to your personal credit profile, and we can add them to your business entity as another owner on the operating agreement, which is like a temporary situation, right? So we can do that, and then that way, when the bank is looking to see who's going to get funded, they're looking at their profile instead of yours. All right. So now, if you can just open your mind up a little bit to say, okay, well, what does this mean? Like, who else might be out there if this isn't me right now? While I'm building up my personal profile, then who else might this be? Someone was on a live recently who said that I don't have this personal credit profile, but my fiance does. Could we use that? Yep, definitely could. It could be a family member. And it could be, if you don't have any of that, then it could be someone in a mentorship group. And you need to start networking and getting out there and being able to know that some people have the credit and they're sitting on this profile, but they do not have the time or the grit or whatever the case to be able to execute on the business. So if you know that you would execute on the business and that you would be able to use this money to be able to generate value in the world and to generate new money, then the funds should not be a problem, right? The credit should not be a problem. So I've just given you the blueprint to be able to change your credit and to improve things. But even if you don't have it, then you can leverage that right now. So that could mean if you had that person, then in the next 30 days, you could still have access to 100K, 120K, 150K, 80K, almost limitless, because this process can be repeated every 6 to 12 months. And once you've got it, then you can just run it again and again and again, which is why this is so powerful, which is why I'm sharing this with you right now. All right. So here's the other way that you can leverage this is you can be serving as an affiliate, right? And making referrals, because if you know, I just gave you the exact sauce for this profile that's going to get funded by the banks, then you can be referring someone else that has this profile and that has a need for funding. And the payouts are not uncommon to be $1,000 a pop, $2,000 a pop, $2,500, $3,000. I just paid somebody, one of my affiliates that referred one client, $2,252 and on PayPal not too long ago. And this was probably the easiest money that she has ever made, because she didn't have to lift a finger, didn't have to do anything else once that person was referred, and that person got funding for their real estate business. So this is totally possible for you. So if you're interested in that, I want you to comment affiliate, or you can text me again at 240-240-6402 and let me know, and I can get you the information for how to get tapped in with that. So again, those two other ways, either you are qualified for this yourself and you're literally sitting on the opportunity and sitting on money that you could be using right now. Hold on a second. Hello? Hello?
Hey, sorry, are you in a position to go? I
Uh,
just got out of the shower.
okay, I'll go.
Okay, sorry.
All right. All right. Well, that was the call. Live is over. I got to get baby girl who is up. So much love, you guys. Hopefully I will see you guys next time around. Hope this information was helpful, and we'll see you next time around. Peace.